Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions and Brave Kids Books, where we have a mission to wake the world up to what's possible for healing, one brave word at a time. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the amazing authors of a new book that we have coming out. And this is the second book in the series, you guys, Brave Kids, short stories to inspire our future world changers. This is volume 2. So before I introduce Samara and Rose to you, I want to say a huge thank you to Kelly Kashula. KJ Kashula is her pen name. She is our lead author of Brave Kids and really the mastermind behind the project. Kelly, I am so grateful to you for being in my world and being such an amazing, talented, and kind hearted person. The way that you're running this project with our amazing global cast of authors. Kelly is an expert illustrator, storyteller, and all around pretty much a badass, you guys. So, my big thank you goes out to her first. So, let me introduce our authors to you today. Samara Minicello is a trauma-informed advocate for children globally, helping them know how to choose happy. I love that, Samara. And Rose Ailey is a professor in radiologic technology and an excited new author featured in Brave Kids. We're happy to have you, Rose. So, all right, so I'm going to start with Samara today. Tell us about your amazing chapter.
Thank you. My chapter is chapter 5. It's called Building Your Life Team. And it's a story about a young boy named Daniel who has just about given up on ever wanting to be on another team again because he's had some pretty bad experiences and he feels like he does all the work anyway, so he doesn't need anyone else. And it's pretty stressful for him, it's a lot of pressure. But the beauty of my story is that over time, Daniel has had a chance to form a very strong relationship and bond with a man who became his mentor. So Daniel was brave enough to bring these issues to his mentor, who's the man in the blue square glasses in the story. And it's so cool because we get to be a fly on the wall to observe this conversation of so much wisdom being passed down from the mentor to Daniel. We actually witness Daniel changing his thoughts and beliefs about teams. I believe that there is some danger in um, not being able to work well and function well in teams. I think, that's not how life works. We can't do it alone. I think we understand that as adults, but not so much as children. So the concepts that I bring into the story are foundationally based around trust and introduce this idea of building a life team. And the life team is the most important team that you could ever be on. And so you'll notice Daniel kind of go from this dark place to a place where he understands the value that he contributes to the team and then the value that the team contributes back. And this mentor provides tools that he can use today and for the rest of his life that will again set him up for more success to have a happier life. So that is what my story is about.
Oh, I love listening to these themes because we're not talking about small things here. We're talking about things that could change a kid's life, into adulthood, especially as they take those tools, your mindset and belief. So I remember reading your story and just feeling kind of the light bulb moments going on about like the thought and belief and how your mentor character was igniting that in
Mhm.
and I loved that part, and I loved that being a fly on the wall of that connection between the two of them. And uh it made me think of the people in my life that were like that for me, and maybe some of the moments I didn't have any people like that in my life, and just how sweet of a relationship that was. How have mentors played a role in your life, Samara?
They've played a huge role. I think that there's so many pieces of wisdom that we do not know about unless someone brings it to your attention. And so I am a huge fan of the hero's journey and, the guide's role in any story. And so I've had the privilege of having guides in my life that have absolutely changed my life. And also now I take on that role to be a guide. I'm a big sister, part of the Big Brother Big Sisters program, and that's a huge piece of my life, that I want to make sure that I can help individuals, but also the bigger picture, like what we're doing with this project, just pass down, things that I've learned and tools that I've learned from other people that have decided to teach me or have wrote about it or whatever. And, I'm able to use and pass down and hopefully change the trajectory of other people's lives and these kids as they grow up. So it's absolutely huge, mentorship and having someone that you can talk to and trust. And again, with the story and building this life team, I think it's absolutely the key to happiness.
And that was the second piece for me, is just thinking about your life team, and the way that you talk about that. I know as a woman in business and business owner, I think I grew up thinking that success meant I did it all by myself. And
Mhm.
you very quickly learned that you cannot get to where you want to go without your team. In so many ways, we could talk about community and team. And I just love the way you put it into life team. It made me think of who is in my inner circle that's really important for just being happy and having a great life. Anything else you want to tell me about that?
Yeah, I think it's just important. As you read the story, you'll notice there's attributes of a life team and there's certain requirements. And I think it can help anybody who reads the story identify, like, do I want this person on my life team? And you have the power to decide who is on your life team. And if you're a really good person and trustworthy person and some of these other attributes, people are going to want you on their life team. And so just having this, and, people come in your life for, as we say, a season, a reason, or a lifetime. I think that's a critical piece that I wish I knew earlier, and it would have changed a lot of things and maybe minimize some of the hurt that I've been through. So again, just passing down that to children is, I think, going to be very powerful.
Samara, thank you so much for being here today. I can't wait to get to some of these other questions for both of you, but let's move over to Rose for now and hear about your amazing chapter, Rose.
Thanks, Laura. My chapter is chapter 12, and it's called Superpowers. And it's based kind of on my own personal love of words. I think they're melodious. I think they're music. I think they're wonderful. I think you learn so much and they're different. Well, my little character, Oscar, agrees with me and has decided this is his superpower. He has a superpower with words, and he is not going to use usual words. He's going to confound people, but he loves it. But not only is that his superpower, suddenly as he thinks them, says these words, he actually begins to fly. Who does not? I want to fly. Who doesn't want to fly? So now he's flying, and it seems wonderful for him. But the challenge is when we have our talents, which is really what superpowers are, is our talents, our talents that we are just naturally good at. The challenge is it can be aggravating. I'm going to be an Oscar, the name of my character. He's a thesaurus. Aggravating, irritating, antagonizing, maybe even a little bit bullying when you use a talent or you use it incorrectly. And this is what's happening to Oscar. He's got these two great talents, and it sounds wonderful. They're his superpowers, but he's having some challenges of when and how to use them, and how he wants to use them in a way eventually that's very brave, because he risks some rejection. So that's the premise of my story.
Well, being a words gal, I loved your story for lots of reasons. But what I could feel when you were moving through some of those unique words that he was using was I just actually felt the joy in you, the author. I felt it come through in these spectacular words, right? And I found myself smiling reading those big, amazing words. But also there was this other thing about, and I don't want to give it all away, you guys, but when he uses this to help his friend in the hospital, okay, that was just a part of the story. I thought, whoa, if kids could grab on to that, ha- then we've changed the world, seriously. What else do you want to tell me about that piece?
Well, that's
Mm.
what, as I was working through this, it was a way of using something, again, as I mentioned, that we all are blessed with talents, but if we use them wrong, it doesn't help people. He figured out a way to use it correctly at risk of potentially going back through what he just went through. So I think children who find that they're good, they can sing well, they're great in gymnastics, they can naturally play the piano. How do I harness this beautiful talent that I own and help other people? Where can and not or versus annoy other people or be a show off, which is a delicate balance, isn't it? Between what you do really well, it depends on people how they receive it. And so it hopefully will help children think of how can I present it to help other people and make it a benefit.
Definitely. A huge thank you to both of you for, I mean, not just for saying yes to the project, but for really taking on just putting your heart and soul into these stories, and for your passion and your missions behind your stories. And to our listeners today, these aren't ordinary authors, you guys. We have pulled healers and therapists and experts in their fields all in to really talk about these topics that really matter, that are real life issues that kids are facing. And I just feel your passion so much, and just so much gratitude to you for doing this and how you did it. Rose, I'm going to stick with you for this next question. So these are my thoughts about this next one. So, one of the biggest ways I think we help our kids is to honor their emotions and give them the space to feel. And feeling is healing. Feeling is an awareness practice to me. One way I practice awareness is through journaling. It gives me the space that I need to move my thoughts onto the page and shift my perspective, shift my energy. That's an awareness practice that I use. So, Rose, what's one of your awareness practices that helps you?
I think, especially in the professional world I am, there's a triage component, and that is a medical. We associate it with medical stuff, which has been my world. And you almost have to triage what really is important. What do I have time to reflect on? What is something that deserves 24 hours? What is something that needs to be adjusted right now? If it's right now, how do I appropriately do that? The deep breath, the writing out of something on paper, but not sending it, to kind of dissect where I'm at for that immediate response. If I'm lucky enough that I can have 24 hours or even longer to reflect, that's huge, because 24 hours makes, as we all know, makes a huge difference. So that tends to be how I handle situations, or, dealing with moving through situations as you're describing.
Yeah, I love that. I was engrossed in listening to those pieces. You mentioned the breath. Oh, like that
Mm,
alone.
huge.
Yes, that alone is one of my practices as well. Um, awesome. All right, Samara, how are you going to add to this? What's one of yours? What do you do to help yourself when you need to really take a look at things?
I would agree on the breath as being the first and foremost, just to regulate your body. I find that um, the somatic response is very big for me. So understanding what's happening in my body, where I'm feeling it, what does that mean? What does it need from me? So that's probably my biggest focus, is when I'm feeling that internally. Um, in my story, I there's even parts about the mentor asking Daniel, where does he feel it in his body? And I think just introducing those concepts and making children aware that feelings are just literally feelings in your body. And so paying attention to them and understanding what they mean and seeing when it comes up. There's patterns, there's a story, there's intelligence there that we're not maybe understanding or even noticing. So just bringing those concepts to life is huge. But the breath is by far the number one.
This one, if this topic of body awareness has been a profound thing in my life, world changing, life changing kind of tools and techniques. And I love how you all are bringing it to the parents and the teachers and the mentors and the children, right? So by writing these stories, we all get the reminder, oh yeah, that's in my body. Like, where do I feel that? I love that. Um, okay, so Samara, well, really, to both of you, the message about these characters in your stories, they're modeling courage for our readers, all of those readers I just mentioned, in such amazing and creative ways. Samara, each one of you was able to bring that theme to life in such awesome ways. But I'm curious. So, was your story your actual personal story? And if not, what inspired you to write your particular story?
Yes, my story is 100% based on personal experience. Obviously, it shows up in a little boy and everything, but the going through life and having people that I believe are trustworthy, that are close to me, that have my back, all those pieces, and then finding out that is not the case, has been very, very hurtful. And so I've taken my experiences, and again, you'll see it through the story, through the conversation, certain tools and different ways to reframe, um, who really is in your life, why are they in your life, and this whole idea of a team. So the TEAM stands for trust each other and myself, and that's very intentional because I think that when you get blindsided by certain people in your life or certain situations, you question your own decision making, you question your intuition. There's a lot of things that become at question. So I think there's a part that we need to be able to work together, but we also need to fundamentally have a relationship with ourselves, and that together is going to be the powerful life team and the life experience. And no one can really hurt you if you have that relationship with yourself and you can trust yourself. It's just you're just unstoppable at that point. So definitely a personal experience, but I'd love to hear Rose's experiences too.
Well, and thank you for paying forward the lessons. And I just think it's a brilliant way that you did it. Okay, Rose, how about you? So, was this personal for you?
Well, obviously I can't fly, although I dream
We
I'm
all
in
want to
flight.
fly.
I know I have dreams where I'm flying. It's wonderful. I'm swooping around. I will say those dreams did impact the idea of getting him to fly because it's a wonderful dream. I will have at night. Um, as I said, I love words. My concern is that people associate the ability to say large words with a population of well educated or maybe sort of snobbery in academia. And I find that sad and off putting. And I don't believe the world needs to categorize people who use large words in that fashion. And those people who don't use large words are intimidated. And I find that sad. Everyone can learn large words, can't they? They don't have to go on through school. And I was even thinking, even if a person is dyslexic or maybe has a form of illiteracy, they can still hear the large words. They're beautiful sounding, like the word in one of the words I use, bulbulous. I happen to love that word. Don't ask me why, because I always think of a nose, but anyway, bulbulous. But listen to the words; it's so pretty. So maybe you can't necessarily read it on a paper, but with the internet and everything, you can hear the words. So I would love to reach out and just say it's okay. Learn those other words. It doesn't make those people who can't read it, you can still hear it, and the words are beautiful. They're descriptive and you can feel and hear versus simple words. Not that simple words are bad. I don't think that I'm not suggesting that, but It's okay and it's good. And that's what I'm hoping Oscar is trying to do. And for myself, when I teach, I use descriptive terms in test questions. And I have students ask me, what does this mean? And I thought, how, and it doesn't give the answer away, but I use the word like robust. And I had a student say, well, what does that mean? I go, oh, interesting. They don't know what robust means. Well, it means in this case, tough. So, right then this student's vocabulary got expanded, which is really, I think, is a wonderful thing. So that's really where the passion came from. My love for words. I would love to be able to personally fly, put those together, and came up with Oscar.
I love it. I love it. You're also making me think of some experiences I've had in my poetry world between the written poem and then spoken word, where we're hearing, and that is a different way to sense words and to feel rhythm and rhyme and all the things, right? So thank you for reminding me of that. That's another way that we're just experiencing life at another level, which I love. Robust. I like bulbulous. Bulbulous. Yes, it is fun to say these words. Okay, so Rose, last question for both of you. I'm going to start with Rose for this last one. And it's a simple question, but a big question. Why is helping kids be brave important to you?
How much time do we
I
have?
know it. I know it.
But you know what? Kids are in my opinion, kids are so intelligent and they feel the same feelings we have as adults. And I just don't know that we honor that. And I think the Brave books are saying we need to honor and support and respect our children who are going through exactly the same things we are, with not the strongest coping skills because they're young, but not to slough it off and say, oh, you're young. This is not, you shouldn't worry about this. That is inappropriate. These kids feel as much as we do, and they're as smart, if not smarter, than we are. So 100%, this project just speaks to me on so many levels. So I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Thank you. I love the way that you put that answer. Love it, love it. Okay, Samara, we're gonna wrap this up with your answer to this. Why is helping kids be brave important to you?
From my trauma-informed lens, I think we've talked about version of this before, but being brave means something different to everyone. So there's this piece of helping children get through this level and then get to the next level and then get to the next level. And then there's this, time where they might get knocked down and they go back a few steps. And you just want to be able to give them that bravery and that passion to get back up and realize it's okay. We're going to do it differently the next time and keep going and keep going. And so that for me is like my worst fear. If we don't instill bravery in these children, whatever bravery means in their specific life and situation, if we don't instill that in them, that they'll never become their best selves. It's just not possible. And we need them to be their best selves. They are our future world changers. We need them. So again, my passion of taking what I'm learning, passing it down to children, giving them as much exposure to concepts that, I didn't learn until I was in my 40s, I believe is going to contribute to bravery across the world.
No doubt. Thank you for that, Samara. Samara, Rose, thank you both so much for what you do in the world, and thanks for being here today to share it with everyone. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, to our listeners, listen, I know you were hearing these wonderful topics today. Maybe something is resonating with you. This is way more than a book that we're creating, it's a very generous community. So, drop down into the show notes. I have the authors linked up with their links and bios, and you can read more about them there. And they're ready to help people take the next step and just really succeed on this journey. We need each other. Also, remember to join us for our book launch party. So, Brave Kids is going to be celebrating on March 8th, 12 noon Eastern. I've got some information down below for that. And you can join us on Zoom and come party with us. And if you're listening to this interview anytime after March 8th, well, that just means you can hop over to Amazon and grab your copy of this magnificent, magnificent book. And lastly, today, everyone, remember your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.